So good morning, Stephanie. It's so nice to see you. It's actually kind of pretty outside your window there. Can you listening to the rain today?
Yeah, it was pretty intense last night, and it's sunny where I am right now. So yeah,
Oh, oh,
sun's
that's good to know. It is pouring where I am right now.
really.
Yeah,
We're
but
not
I
that
love
far
it.
from each
I
other.
know, I know. But I'm
Wow.
right on along the coast. I don't know if that makes a difference,
Yeah,
but
I'm
I'm
more
hoping
in the
it does.
bay, so
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. Um, so I think that what I'm going to do to get started is before I do your formal invitation, oh my gosh, introduction, I'm going to just go through something that I talked about twice yesterday. So because I talked about it twice yesterday, I think, oh, this must be kind of valid. And so I was talking to a few different people about getting visible, right? And how do you rise above the noise, right? Like we talk about in my Facebook group, like how do you rise above the noise? What are the simple, well, maybe not so simple. I say be strategic about it. If you're strategic, then it's simple. But what are the things that you can do? And how do you come up with, how does one come up with content that seems to be kind of, interesting to your potential clients or of value? So I gave a whole 10-minute presentation yesterday to a networking group and also to a client. And here's what I came up with. And actually, I'm going to share my screen. So I suggest that you keep a notebook beside you all the time. And a, I just popped this form into the Rise Above the Noise Facebook group. And maybe you want something like this, or maybe you have a notebook that you keep beside you. But from now until forever, just keep writing down every single question anyone's ever asked you or comes up. Ask your friends, hey, what do you want to know about my business? Like, how often do people talk to their friends about the work they do? Have you ever wondered something about my business? Or things that you think are really simple because you live in that world every day, people might not have any idea about. So I'm going to suggest to everyone who's listening now, and I'll put it in the group, in the Rise Above the Noise Facebook group later in more detail, keep track of every single question. Somebody might ask, what does it cost to work with you? Well, the answer might be, it depends. But answer that. So in this, I'm saying just keep the list. I'm not saying answer them yet. Maybe we'll talk about that another time. But if you're ever searching for, oh my gosh, what can I share? Go to this list that you're going to be keeping beside you all of the time and look at your list and see if you can answer any of these simple questions in more detail. FAQ, frequently asked questions, you see that all the time. Then there's the SAQs, should ask questions, and make sure to answer the must ask questions, right? And so sometimes a way to do that is to look at your competitors and see what they're talking about as well. So I hope that was helpful. I'm going to stop sharing now. This form will be in the Rise Above the Noise group. And now I have to look for the right page to find my introduction for Stephanie. Technology, you guys, I'm good at it, and then sometimes it blows me away. Here we go. So now I'm going to officially introduce Stephanie Osborne. Her official bio is that she helps small businesses attract more clients with less stress, thank you very much, by helping them to align their talents and strengths with their marketing. Stephanie's superpower is that she is a visionary. She has a unique ability to see how all the pieces fit together in process and strategy. You know I love strategy. Her website is blissmorestressless.com. And today she will be talking about attracting more leads with your compelling message. And I am so glad to have met Stephanie in my many networking ventures. I think we had started by talking about the Women's Business Network the first time I met you at a Project Lady event. And
Absolutely.
like the
Yeah.
power of networking. So I'm so glad you're here. And I know you're really busy with planning an event for Friday.
I am, Susan. Can I talk about that for a minute?
Please,
Okay.
absolutely.
So we have been putting together, myself and 3 other women have been putting together a women's conference here in the East Bay. I'm in Barrington, but the conference is in Seekonk on Friday, from 8:30 to 2, and it is a women's empowerment conference. We have a beautiful keynote speaker, Melissa Murray, who is the mother of the little boy who the hashtag #DStrong went viral, right? So he had pediatric cancer, and she created the DStrong Foundation after he passed away in, I think, 2016. And so she's going to be talking about resilience. And we've got a
Wow.
couple of workshops and a lunchtime etiquette speaker. So it should be a great time. Yeah.
Awesome. So where can people, oh, actually you could put it in the group, but tell us now where people can
Yeah.
find the information.
I'll put it in the group, but if you went to the East Bay Chamber's website and clicked on their calendar of events, then you would
Okay.
see the women's conference, and the link to register is in there.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So exciting. That must have been a lot of work to put together.
Yes, it was. It was a
A lot
great
of coordinating.
experience.
Oh, good.
Yeah, great experience. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what do you have to share with us today?
Well, Susan, I really want to talk about something I'm super passionate about, which is creating a message that really connects, right? And so you and I were on that networking circuit, and we do a lot of networking events where you get to stand up and say what you do for about 30 to 60 seconds, right? And some people hit it out of the park, right? Some people have really great 60 seconds. And other people, you have apps, even after they're done speaking, after 60 seconds, you don't necessarily know what they do, who they help, right? And I think that it's such a missed opportunity oftentimes when you don't really have your message nailed down for various reasons, right? So sometimes I think there's a little bit of fear. It's a little bit of worry, like, I want to tell everybody everything that I do because I don't want to leave anything out, because, what if somebody's looking for this particular thing and I don't mention it, right? So that ends up really working against people, right? So we end up with a message that's kind of ambiguous, or maybe rambles a little bit. So, we're overwhelming someone with too much information, and we're not really making that connection that we really, really want to make. You only have 60 seconds to really make an impression and to have somebody know for themselves, yes, this is something that I need, or perhaps, ooh, I know someone who needs this product or service. So I think it's super, super important to have that message as clear as it can possibly be.
So what would a good message include? Like 30 seconds goes by so fast. 60 seconds goes by so fast. What would be the key elements to a compelling message?
The first element is the who, right? And so this is often a little bit tricky for people because you don't want to be too general. If you're too general, then you've kind of missed people. They don't make that connection. And if you're too specific, then on the opposite end, you can kind of lose people because you're being too narrow, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
kind of want to be in that middle ground, identifying who are the ideal clients for you, who do you work with, who do you help. That's probably the toughest thing for people to do, is to really kind of dig in and to create those different personas and to figure out, like, what's the common threads across all of my personas. Like, of all the people that I help, what are all these things that they potentially have in common, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the who, so that's hard to figure out. And I actually have trouble with that too. Because I do a lot of women networking groups, often I will say women business owners. But even that is very wide.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And then, once you've narrowed down what it is you want to say for who, like who you help, you really want to focus on what are the problems that you're helping them solve. Because lots of times we talk about what we do and how, but no one's really buying our process, right? Like, people are buying solutions. They're not really buying the process to get there. They don't really care how we manage to get them there. They just want that end result. So connecting in with the problems that they're facing is a lot more helpful and for people to see in themselves, oh, is this something for me? Is this something I struggle with, right? So identifying those challenges that your clients or potential clients have is really key. So that's really like the second component to this 30 or 60-second. First is the who, and then next is the what are the challenges, and then the last part is the results. What will someone achieve because of this problem being solved, right? And listing out those feelings or different types of accomplishments help people to understand what they're going to get if they do choose to work with you or purchase, what is the product going to deliver or the service going to deliver, because it's that end result that people are really most interested in. So the who, the what is the challenges, and then the what of the achievement. Those are the three things that people really need to be focused on in that short period of time so it can be fluid and deeply connecting.
So how about you give us yours again? I know I said it at the beginning. Do you want to share yours again and point out the different elements?
Sure. So it all depends a little bit, like you said, on what I'm going into. So if I'm going into an all women's event, I might use the I help women business owners, but
Yeah.
I usually say something like I help women in business who are solopreneurs or professionals that struggle with marketing their business. They dislike coming up with the different strategies and processes that they need to use to be the most successful. And the achievement is having that stress-free marketing plan in place so that you can go about your business and do the things that you really truly enjoy doing, right? Because most of the time, for us, we love marketing.
Love it. Yep.
But most of the people just, how is it so shocking, right? Like they don't love it. They don't love this marketing piece of it. And, they just want to be done with it. They want something super simple and they want to know what it is that they have to do it, and move on to the things that they love to do.
Awesome. So what kind of things do you do in the work that you do that help people solve that problem? So now I understand that the compelling message,
right,
like that's separate, but just, for benefits for people to understand kind of how you dig into and create solutions.
So one of the things that I work with people on is making sure that they're aligned, they're aligning their talents and their skills to their marketing, because I feel that there's an awful lot of marketing advice out there, and there's an awful lot of there's so many different ways for you to market your business, right? I mean, it's endless, right?
Endless.
It's endless.
So noisy.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy that, and it's great. It's amazing that we have all these different methods and channels to work with, but if you choose something that isn't aligned for you, that doesn't align with your talents and your skills, then what ends up happening is that it's the thing that you hate the most, right? Especially if you don't like marketing to begin with, but now you're doing something that you really dislike, you will not do it, right? You'll procrastinate it. That feeling of, God, I hate doing this will come through in your marketing, right?
Interesting.
Right? So people will tell me, well, I have to blog. I'm like, well, you don't have to blog, right? Like there's other ways of marketing for your business. Do you like to write? No, I don't like to write. So, if you don't like to write, then blogging is probably not the best thing for you. There's other things you could be doing, right? You could be video blogging. You could be podcasting. There's just endless ways to align your strengths, skills, and talents to the marketing activities that, best suit you as a person, especially if you are, the only person in your business, right? If you're wearing that marketing hat and you're the only person wearing it, then you want to make sure you choose the activities that you actually enjoy doing at some level.
Brilliant.
Right? So
Brilliant.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want, so we have a couple of people on the call. I wonder, ladies, if you would be interested in sharing what you have so far. I mean, would that be okay with you, Stephanie, if you
Oh,
listened
sure.
to theirs and maybe you were
Sure.
able to let them hone it down a little bit?
Absolutely.
Denise or Rachel, are you interested in having some feedback on your 60-second or 30-second?
Well, can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I don't have Susan, as Susan knows, I'm working with her in a different group, and this is one of the things that I need to work on, is truly coming up with the identifiers of who my customer is. And it's something I'm currently working on, but don't really have a draft ready to roll, although I have to say, Stephanie, the way you just drilled down for me, the who, what the problem or the challenges for the customer, and what the result is of my service for that customer is brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
And it's amazing the simplicity that you provide that actually has helped me just in an instant realize how I have to drill down this very convoluted. I'm a writer by nature, so I tend to be lengthy. So I pare down and pare down and pare down until I get to where I need to be. But those 3 points that you made in hearing your example of what you pitch to who your customer is has just been super helpful. So although I don't have anything to share, Susan, I promise in our next meeting or on our private Facebook group, I will actually have this done probably by end of day. So I really appreciate you sharing that. What might have seemed like just a simple tip has really woken up the idea of who my client is going to be, or already is actually. So thank you.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you, Rachel. The one thing I would add to it as well is if you can use the language that your customers use when you describe the problems and challenges, I think that that's super key. So if you're, like Susan started this off talking about like, what questions do people ask you? I think that that's super key to remembering, like, what are the words? How do they describe, what they were struggling with when they talk to you? Like, what are the different things that they're trying to find out from you? And using that language in your own 60-second, it really helps to make that connection.
Thank you.
Awesome. Denise, do you want to give it a go?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. Yeah, so I was just working on this as part of one of the Bold Hard modules yesterday, the last couple days, and so it's very timely for me.
Awesome.
And so so what I have, which I guess I haven't quite committed it to memory, but I'm gonna kind of read it off my notes here. But so I don't know if I need to identify and say something like I am a, or if I just kind of go into I work with.
You can certainly start off, especially if you're in a room where no one knows you, certainly key to say I am a,
Okay.
Yes.
So I would say I'm a relationship counselor, and I work with committed couples caught in a cycle of conflict they haven't been able to resolve. And I help them improve communication, manage their disagreements, and have a rock solid relationship.
That's excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Yes. Very, very good. And what I like is that it's super short, right? You've hit all of the pieces that you wanted to hit. And at this point, you could tell a quick story, right? I'm working with a couple right now who, and give a quick, had this problem, we did this and it solved this, right? So you can expand on this as well. So if you have a little more time, feel free to throw something in that's relevant, but hitting those, 3 key points right out of the gate is amazing. That sounded excellent.
Great. Thank you for your feedback.
Very good.
Awesome. Can I give you mine?
Yes.
Okay. I hope I don't even know if it will roll off, but I've been the short one. I'm Susan Finn. I'm the chief connector at Susan Finn Online. And my team and I provide personal, authentic, and patient digital marketing support and strategies for small business owners. I have to figure something out there. forget that, for small business owners. As a result of working with me, my clients have expressed that they feel a sense of calm and control over what previously had been very confusing and overwhelming to them, because I just demystify the analytics and I make list building exciting.
That's great.
Well,
that's great. I would say expand a little more on the businesses, right? So you say I work with small businesses. So I would be a little bit more descriptive,
yeah.
right? And you can, this is fluid, you can change it, you know, it depends on the situation you're walking into. If you're walking into a room full of women, you know, it's a women only event, you might say I work with women business owners who are very stressed, you know, overwhelmed. Like, key into those words that they use when they describe how much they, you know, struggle with, right, like the digital marketing piece, like understanding SEO and all that type of thing. Like, try to, you know, have those conversations where you're picking up exactly the feelings that they're feeling and how the language that they use to describe it.
Thank you. I know one of the challenges for what I do is when I say digital marketing, it's very clear to me, and it's clear to you, and it's clear to these ladies because they know me.
But
But basically, people don't know. They don't know. And so a lot of people think I just do social media, which is a small part of it, really, right? When you think of the whole website, search optimization, email marketing, if you did nothing else, I always tell people do the email marketing. So I don't know that I should list each of those things in what I talk about.
Well, maybe we could describe it differently, right? So how else would we describe this? Like your online presence?
Right, I've used that. That's a good thing, right?
How would
you stay in touch? What's the word?
Engagement?
Yeah, like how, what, like you were saying, whether it's social media or it's, you know, newsletters or something. So you kind of, the umbrella term would be like your stay in touch methods or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
This is fun. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Susan.
Awesome. And so, are there any other questions from Denise? Or go ahead.
So I guess in thinking about the module that I was working on, the other piece about kind of, and I mean, this is sort of off the elevator speech, but still part of the whole thing is the kind of what sets you apart. Is that something you would include in, you know, your introduction to somebody at a networking event or something?
So it would depend, right? For some of us, there's not a whole lot of what sets us apart, right? So in terms of general advice for what sets you apart, if there are things that truly set you apart, then yes, right? Then I would say definitely okay to include them and to point that out. Sometimes it's a little bit of a stretch, right? Like if we're selling real estate, there's not really a huge amount of things that set us apart that are truly unique. Mm-hmm. So we just want to be a little bit careful about how we use that. And you can certainly point it out without actually saying what sets me apart is, right? If we can eliminate that piece of it and just say, you know, I focus in on, you know, couples that struggle with this particular topic, right? So there's ways to do it so that you're not really calling it out, but you're definitely letting people know exactly who you work with and who you help.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Any other questions for Stephanie? While we have her here, we're so fortunate to have her. I know you're so busy, Stephanie. There's so much going on.
I'm thrilled to be here, Susan. This is the highlight of my week, truly.
Well, I wanted to hop on because I wanted to meet you, Stephanie, because Susan introduced me to the email that you send out with all the women's networking events. So I wanted to put a face to the name. So it's great to meet you.
Oh, that's so cool.
Why don't you tell people about that, Stephanie?
Sure. So I gather up all of the women's networking events in Rhode Island and southern Massachusetts. I kind of stay like from south of Boston to as far east as, you know, Plymouth. And I send this out usually weekly, sometimes not quite, but especially if there's not a whole lot going on. But it basically lists out all the different women's networking opportunities that are going on. There's lots of different women's groups in Rhode Island and Southern Massachusetts. And so this email just gathers up, when, where, the details, the link to register, how much it costs, all that information so that you can see what's going on this week or the next couple of weeks and plan your networking out accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
It's been really helpful. I've forwarded that to a lot of people, and hopefully they're joining your list. How can people get on your list?
That is a great question. How can people get on my list? I will post the link to that in here as well.
Okay.
The group. So thank you for that. Yes.
Super.
Yeah.
Is Women's Success Network on that list?
I don't think it is. I think I have gone out to the Women's Success Network and not seen anything. Like there was a moment, I think, where maybe, I don't know if their page was broken or what, but now that you say that, I don't know that I've looped them back in. So I'll make a note of that and definitely, do you belong to the Women's Success Network?
No, but I was, I don't know how I came across their website, but I did. And then so I was thinking, did I find it through your email or did I just kind of stumble upon it on my own? I don't know.
I know I included maybe one thing for them, and then I don't know what happened. I don't know if something like a link got broken, but I know they kind of got dropped, and I'm not sure if I had checked it the last week's email.
And you know what else? I first went to WSNINC, which I knew it was .com, and it wasn't that, but now you can try WSNINC.org.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I think that might be it. And then
that's probably it. Yes.
Yep, and they have a meeting. That's a lovely group that I've when I was directing the Women's Business Network of Southeastern Massachusetts, we did a lot. Back and forth. It's an evening group with a dinner.
Oh, okay, great.
Versus the Women's Business Network, which is morning, in and out, no food, which has its own brilliance as well.
Right.
Awesome. And so let's see. I lost you for a second. Oh, just before we go, I wanted to say that you had a book recommendation, and it was "You Are a Badass" by Jen Sincero, which I have not read yet, but it's on my to-do list is to read that book. I've heard really great things about it.
It's great. Definitely.
So I'll have to try that. Your call to action, as I have it here, is that if people who listen to this send you an email, right, they'll find your email address at blissmorestressless.com. If they send you an email with their 60-second intro, their elevator speech, you'll review it and give 3 suggestions for improvement.
Yes.
Just like you did for us here today.
I sure will.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Awesome. Thank you,
Susan. All right, well, I'll be sharing this in the group in the next 24 hours, and I'm so glad you guys came here today.
Thank
and
you,
good
Stephanie.
luck with your conference on Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.